Welcome to this Tekla video. This video will show you how to use the Model Checker Suite extension. After installing the Model Checker Suite, you should have an icon on the toolbar. Click on this to open the dialog. In this dialog then, you have various checks you can perform in your model. We're going to start with the part connectivity, or objects which are not in an assembly. By clicking on the eye icon, I can open up the help file, and this will explain to me what this particular check does. I can also have some settings set up. Here I'm going to tell it to include items which have been added as sub-assemblies and not just welded items. I have the option to run checks on selected parts of the model or all the model. Here I'm going to check the entire model. I say OK, run the checks now. That switches me over to the results tab. And when the checks have finished, I can see here I've got a cross, meaning some parts have failed the check. And if I open up the results tab, I can see in here I have all my concrete included and my grating, which I don't really want to check. So if I select everything and just remove that plate, and I say in future checks, ignore all this concrete and grating, only check for the steel. And then if I just click on the plate in my list, it will highlight it in the model, so I can fit the model to that part. And I can easily then see what I'm doing. If I then select the part and inquire on it, I can see it doesn't belong to any assembly, and that I've forgotten to weld it to the column. So using this is a very quick and easy way of finding parts within large models. Now the next thing I want to check in this model is I already have a long list of fabrication drawings created, well over 500. But I'm not sure if I've missed some objects in the model when I created them. So I'm going to run an assembly drawing check on the entire model, and this will tell me which parts do not have assembly drawings for them, if any. This has failed, so some parts don't have assembly drawings. So if I open up my list again, I can see that there's the grating, which I don't really care about. Don't need drawings for that, but the rails, I've missed some rails here. I can easily highlight those in the model, create the drawings for those. Concrete doesn't matter too much, but the beam, definitely I've missed some beams as well. So running this check, I can easily find parts that I've somehow missed making fabrication drawings of. Again, I've got all the concrete in this list, so if I wanted to, I could just add all the concrete to my ignoring future checks. So if I need to run this again, it won't run the concrete. The next check I want to run is, do all my parts have the correct material grade? So if I go down to my project material check, I can set the material grades I want in here manually, or I can tell it to show me all the material in the model as it is. I can see that I want A36, and the concrete I don't really care about, but I'm removing the other one because I want to know which parts have that material grade. And I run the check now, and I open up my list, and that shows me the ones which don't have concrete and do not have the project material A36. So I could change them now, I could select them from the list, or I can just directly change it here. I can type in A36, I can cut and paste that onto the other fields. As I'm pasting it in, I can see that each field is being highlighted, and as I've unticked the apply instantly, these are not applied to the model just yet. That's what the highlight means. So if I double click on this column, I can see it has that old material. If I click the apply to model button, it tells me that 9 objects will be modified. Click back on that column, and the model has been adjusted to suit. A quick and easy way of finding the wrong material grades and changing them. The next check I want to run is for my handrailing. Do I have the correct name for the handrailing on all my parts? So the name I want to check for is handrail. And I'm going to do it on selected items this time. All the handrailing here. And I run the check. Check will run through. When it's finished, I can see some pieces have failed again. Open up the list. And there I can see which items have got the wrong names. Usually the internal bends which are added by a component. And again, I can add them here. If I keep the apply instantly, that's now hitting those pieces as I update this list. It's just a matter of working my way through and changing everything to suit the name that I want. The next check for my handrailing would be what the assembly prefix is. Have I got the correct assembly prefix for all these parts? And I open up the settings and I want to check for HR. Just type it in and press enter. Select those objects and run the check. This time the check passes. So nothing to change, but I'm sure now everything has the correct prefix. As well as running single checks, I can also run multiple checks at once. I just select the ones I want by ticking the box. I can easily see which ones I've selected by clicking on the tick at the top of the menu. This will sort them out into selected and unselected. So here I can see the ones I've selected. And then just run those checks. All of these settings can also be saved on a company level or on a project level for use later. Once the checks are finished, I just need to work my way through those again and fix what needs fixing. Thank you for watching.